Now, the only sure bet on Cup Day yesterday was that the Reserve Bank would raise interest rates for the 7th time this year.
It hurts, doesn't it? The quarter of 1% rise means $74 more on repayments for a $500,000 mortgage and $760 more in repayments since May this year. Adele Andrews is a leading accountant and mortgage broker from Australian Property Home Loans and is here to break down the recent rate hike for us. Adele, thanks for being with us. For the first time in 12 years, we've seen interest rates go up and up and up, and that has definitely put the pressure on cost of living. How high do you expect these rates to go?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting times, isn't it? The RBA has certainly taken on an aggressive approach to try and quash these inflationary pressures in the market. And for the first time in 12 years, you know, people, many of which have only just got a mortgage in the last 12 years, they find themselves in this new environment of rising interest rates in uncharted territories. So, you know, without a crystal ball, it's very hard to say how high they're going to go. There's probably going to be a little bit more pain before the dust settles, but it's certainly an interesting time.
Yeah, you say it's never more important for people to have mortgage education. For sure I'm with you on that one. Can you explain that to a bit of people?
Yeah, I think one of the most concerning aspects of this market that we're in right now is the number of national studies that have taken place that have revealed that over a third of the Australian population is financially illiterate. So that means that there's a lot of people out there that are walking around that don't understand their mortgage, they don't understand their finances, and they're vulnerable. And, you know, mortgage education is not something that's taught at school, and yet it's something that's fundamental when it comes to addressing what's inevitably the biggest expense that the household will incur.
I'm definitely one who needs it.
So what are some of the things then that people can do if they are starting to feel the pressure of these rate rises? Because I'm sure there'd be a lot of mortgage holders out there who just go, I can't afford to pay this anymore.
No, look, that's right. And, you know, education is a big part of the journey. Just on the weekend, I was talking to a young lady who was talking about the pressures that she was feeling of her mortgage repayments. And I asked her what interest rate she was on, whether she had an offset account, and she didn't know. And there are a lot of people out there in the same position. So, you know, mortgage education is such a big piece of addressing some of that concern and vulnerability in the market. And aligning yourself with an expert or a professional who can help talk you through the mechanics of your home loan, talk you through the mechanics of the way your debt's structured, and help put a strategy in place to alleviate some of that pressure is absolutely fundamental right now.
How open are the banks to negotiating a lower rate for homeowners? Is it worth getting on the phone and making some calls?
Absolutely. It's certainly one channel to explore. And again, it's something that I would recommend people do after they've aligned themselves with that mortgage expert, bearing in mind that, you know, mortgage brokers have a very broad overview of the market and what the market has to offer. So if you can talk to that expert and go through your own set of circumstances, find out what the competitors are offering, and then go back to your own bank and say, well, you know, my understanding is that this rate's out in the market, can you match it? Absolutely should be the first port of call before you go through the whole process of something like refinancing.
How often can you do that, Adele? Sorry, just really quickly, because I tell you, it was the first thing that I did, and they took it back from me, and then the following month it almost went up twice as much. How often can you be calling your bank and saying, look, I need you to review it?
Do you know what? I think right now there's no real rule of thumb. It has been such an aggressive time of rate increases. I'm speaking with a lot of my clients about going every 3 months and asking for a rate review. At the end of the day, if they say no, they say no. Nothing's lost, nothing gained, right? But if you don't ask, you don't get. And I think in these times of so much pressure on households, it's really important to ask. And if they say no, then that's when you perhaps explore another avenue of where there might be some other ways of relieving the pressure.
All right, Adele Andrews from the Australian Property Home Loans. Thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take care.